Welcome to another episode of Comedy Wham Presents. With me, your host Valerie, and sometime kitty co-hosts Ms. Purrington and Mookie are safe at home. We're recording from Fallout Theater Podcast Studio. Thank you, Fallout. ComedyWham.com is your place to go for features about all Austin comedy. In addition to podcasts, Comedy Wham brings you articles, album reviews, show reviews, our advice column, our listing of festivals from across the country and the world, our FPIA contest page, and my articles for the Austin Chronicle, thebarbedwire.com, about Austin and Texas, their comedy scenes. Our most popular feature is our events page for live comedy shows in Austin, Houston, and DFW, where 100% of the entries you see come from comics and producers. Click the Submit a Show button from the top of the homepage or events page to fill out the survey to get your show listed. It's free and easy. Tag us on your Instagram stories and we'll share your show promo to our followers. We also offer paid promo pushes on Instagram. Speaking of events, come check out our monthly Canyon Grill comedy show in Lakeway on first Wednesdays of the month. Want to support these resources we provide? You can donate to Comedy Wham on PayPal, Venmo, or even Patreon. Click the Support CW icon on our homepage to see the ways that you can help us. Our podcast was launched in 2016 to bring you funny people and their stories. As a fan, I like to delve into a comic's background and motivations and will usually take a detour along the way. Consider the interview a way for you to get to know the folks that make the Austin comedy scene one of the best in the country. If you like this podcast, please rate and review us. Today we're talking to somebody who, if you follow his Instagram account, this is a certified metalhead. He is also the co-host, producer of Dress to Kill Comedy. He's been on Kill Tony, he's reached the FPIA semifinals, and he is making his debut at the 2025 Moontower Comedy Festival this year. And now Comedy Wham presents our guest, Connor Nutt.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah. I started laughing to myself because I noticed that the lights were changing color, and I'm like, am I having a heart attack because my paper keeps changing colors? Is it?
Well, as soon as you say metalhead, the lights are going to turn red.
Oh, that's what. Or maybe I really am having something, because now I'm staring at the lights and they're not changing color. Oh my God. Okay. All right.
The mushrooms have kicked in.
The mushrooms have kicked in. Right. And everybody that knows me is like, she does not. Oh, did she really do them?
Yeah.
No. Well, welcome, Connor.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Let's start off with my official icebreaker question.
Okay.
Which is one word to describe your past.
Normal upbringing.
Normal.
Yeah.
Wow.
I know for a comic. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's like,
that's unheard of.
Yeah. I was gonna say untraumatic. Believe it or not, I had a great childhood. I was just regular awkward. Like I just as a young kid, I was just always into things like. I was always like 20, 30 years behind what was cool. Because I was like 6 years old and discovered Elvis and was obsessed with Elvis for years. Like a 6-year-old. To enough where like I wanted my haircut like him. So that's where the quirkiness and awkwardness or social awkwardness of, I think, that eventually led me to comedy started.
Yeah. Wow.
But other than that, like all good and normal suburban upbringing.
Yeah. Where did you grow up?
I grew up in a town called Richmond, Texas, so it's about an hour outside of downtown Houston.
Okay.
Right sandwich in between Sugar Land and Katy.
Okay. All right. So, Houston vibe, but Texas.
Oh, yeah.
And like I was saying, if you look at your Instagram feed, which that's part of my prep, is there's a lot of reference to like rock, metal bands.
Yes.
When did that obsession? We're gonna get back to comedy, but I got to know about the obsession.
Well, that's perfect. It's because I think you can't really tell my story about comedy without talking about music, because that was like a number one passion. About when I was I think it started in the 5th grade. I heard Kiss Rock and Roll All Night on the radio and just blew my mind, and I became obsessed with Kiss for about a year, so much so my dad was sick of it but wanted to support it, where he gave me AC/DC's Back in Black.
Nice.
And that got obsessed with AC/DC, and I was like, their songs sound easy to play, so I started playing guitar. And then it's January 28th, 2008, my dad took me to see Van Halen at the Houston Toyota Center, and that's where I became completely obsessed with music. to where so obsessed where like the day Eddie Van Halen died, and it was in October of 2020. I had people reaching out to me, like sending condolences, like I knew the guy.
I saw that post.
Yeah.
Because I'm a child of the 80s, so
Mhm.
obviously Van Halen and Eddie, he was a hottie. Everybody was obsessed with Van Halen in the
Yeah.
80s. So, yeah, I saw that post, and I'm like, wait a minute, I got to read this one. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah. So yeah, which is like and then I think I've always been attracted to, like the comedians that are really like 'cause there's so many. It's awesome. There's so many comedians that are into music, and usually when I'm hanging out like at the creek or something, it's the comics that are into music. We find each other and we just yap about whatever, whether it's metal or jam bands now, which I got heavily into college. Yeah, it's I have like every terrible taste you could have for rock and roll music. Like I like my Spotify shuffle is a nightmare because it'll go from like the Grateful Dead to like Slayer and a Heartbeat
Oh my
to like
gosh.
or like local like bands like The Sword or Duel, and so it's just all over the place now.
And you play guitar
Yes,
yourself.
yeah. So I was gonna say that
Yeah.
that grew up into an obsession with playing guitar, and I never found the right people to like make cool music with. Like man, I was wanting to be like before I found out they were a thing, but I was like wanting to like create a band that sounds, I guess now is like Greta Van Fleet would be a great example, like a modern young band that has that classic rock sound. And my cousin, who I grew up with, lived with my parents and I. He became a drummer, so we had an awesome setup in our garage where we could just jam out. But never got to like get to that full band level. So by the time it came to get to college, that kind of guitar just kind of became like a hobby thing for me. But that passion of like wanting to entertain is what kind of led me to comedy a couple years later.
Yeah.
I lasted 3 years in a corporate job, 8 to 5, and that really just it will slowly eat at your soul enough where you realize you made a terrible mistake and felt I was compelled to do something else.
Yeah.
So.
Had you ever performed like in high school or junior high, other than, in front of the mirror with your guitar?
Yeah, so I remember there's a few random gigs. Like I did this coffee shop. I remember one time I just did a bunch of cover songs with two of my friends. I remember the school I went to, it was from 3rd to 8th grade, I went to a private Christian school. And we had a share chapel on Fridays. And I remember playing, I forget what song I played, but I played for that. And that's when I started getting like complimented for it. And then the coolest thing I ever think I got to do is going back to AC/DC is my in college, and I was in a fraternity, and for philanthropy called Derby Days, we would do like a talent show portion, and my favorite one is I dressed up like Angus Young and played "You Shook Me All Night Long," not knowing how I was gonna go, but like just a room full of like 350 sorority girls singing along. Because I played to the track, but I played the guitar part live.
Yeah.
And that was the closest I ever felt to a rock star for a few hours. So that was yeah,
Cool.
I was the only time I ever felt popular school related for a few days. That was a core memory, I think you call them now,
Yeah.
as far as like looking back and being like, all right, no matter where life goes, like I have that to hold on to. It's like I did that. So.
Again, I'm going to go back because I feel like I can share this with you
Mm-hmm.
as, the music aficionado. I remember coming home with the Back in Black album vinyl, back again in the 80s, and like how excited I was about being able to play that album. Sadly, I don't know where that vinyl is anymore. I did not hang on to it.
Oh man.
Of course, in college I turned into like, techno, not techno, but like the whole German and Ministry, that.
Oh yes,
that
yes,
whole,
that more of a like electronic music rock, industrial, yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I may have parted ways stupidly
Oh.
with some of my early rock
Well,
80s.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that album in particular because I remember the exact like conversation my dad had. As I said, I was like obsessed with Kiss, and he's like, "Buddy, there's nothing wrong with Kiss. I'm just tired of listening to them. There's other bands out there."
Yeah.
And he said he gave it to me I had it on CD first, and he's like, "Son, like when I first had this, it was on vinyl, and I would play it until the record would scratch up, and I'd go and buy another one. Had it on cassette in my car, and me and my buddies would listen to it on repeat until the tape would unwind or get screwed up."
Yeah.
And And then, and he's like, so I'm just telling you, like, this, if you want to obsess over an album, this is the one to do it.
Yeah,
And
absolutely. Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so what did you go to college thinking you wanted to do?
So I was a first generation college student, so I didn't really have a complete idea.
Okay.
But I got a degree in public relations, and by the time I was a junior or senior, I got heavily into the UFC. And I just always knew I wanted to do something in entertainment or in like something that was an interesting life. Like, and so at one point I was considering getting my master's at UNLV and trying to get into like the public relations side or marketing side of the UFC. And that just never came into fruition. And then after I graduated, I just didn't even realize like what to do afterwards. I think I think a lot of kids go through, but I just always assumed like, oh, I'll go back to Houston. That's where I was raised.
Where did you go to college?
Texas State in San Marcos.
Okay.
So yeah,
all right.
and so that's kind of how I got familiar with Austin and the Hill Country, and it 2 months living at home wasn't getting any interviews or anything, and you're going through that internal freak out of, oh my God, am I doing did I just waste 4 years of my life? And I was really missing my friends from college, and they had all settled here in Austin. This was around 2018, and I was like, you know what? There's nothing keeping me in Houston. So I started applying to jobs in Austin. Got a job in 2 weeks, and yeah, like drove up for an interview, and it was for a company called Main Street Hub, and it was just down the street on the One American Center on Congress, and the elevators open, and I just see GoDaddy everywhere. I'm like, oh, I'm in the wrong place. But they were like, no, we just got bought out. So yeah, we just haven't updated the applications yet. So I was like, oh, cool, like a nice, like known company. Like this should, and then yeah, just was not, didn't work out for, I stayed there for 3 years, but met a lot of great people that I'm still friends with from that job. The people were great, but as far as like, I don't know, I can't, like, as far, that wasn't a mistake because it led me to where I am, but as far as like, I guess, just, totally like regret a lot of the time I wasted there, but it's led me here, and I think I needed a few years away to like, screw around and figure out, and just, all paths kind of lead you back to where you feel like you're, supposed to be doing. So, and that as soon as what I started to realize is when I started to realize like, okay, I don't want to be doing this. I want to be in entertainment, and I was like, well, I'd been playing guitar. This is like around the pandemic now, so it's like late 2020, early 2021, and it just kind of dawned on me. I was like, well, I want to be performing and entertaining, and I was like, well, I never met the right people to start a band with, and I was like, what? I've always been I grew up a huge fan of stand-up as well, and I was like, well, I've always been considered the goofy or funny friend, and you only need you and your microphone to try that out, and so yeah, a couple weeks later. It was a Wednesday after the Super Bowl at a karaoke bar called the Common Interest. They had their first open mic night, and it was still like, weird COVID times where things are sort of open but not really. Like, you gotta wear a mask at this far apart, but you can come inside. And you had to put like I can only describe it as like it was a thin, like, filtered cloth over the mic, and everyone.
Oh, yeah.
It was like
there was a mic condom.
That's exactly. Mic condoms.
Yeah. No, I hosted a show during the pandemic, and I had those covers on our mics too.
Yeah, so, So that was my first 3-minute set. I had.
Okay, we gotta stop because so you went from a few weeks before thinking, you know what, I've always liked stand-up, to how did you like that quickly decide? Because I talk to people who like, they think about it for a long time, and then they go watch, and then maybe a while later they'll go maybe give it a shot. Just in 2 weeks' time, you went that, you had the thought, and then you...
Yeah, sorry, I probably skipped around. It wasn't... It was building over the course, I said, of a few months.
Okay.
And actually, I'm glad you reminded me of, like, okay, that was a little more. I actually ended up being in Fort Worth visiting a friend for some reason, and we ended up at Hyenas for like it was like a local headliner night. They did the open mic afterwards, and I had signed up, but then found out that because I'm watching these open micers go, and eventually, I think what starts a lot of people in comedy, you watch some really bad comedy, you're like, I think I can do just a little bit better than that.
Yeah. Or I'm at least as bad as that.
Yes, exactly. And I signed up, didn't get up because it was like getting like past midnight on a Thursday. The friend I was with was like over it. You know?
Yeah.
And I had another friend from college. His name was John Wolf, who had been doing comedy in San Marcos and Austin a little bit. And so I hit him up, and that's how I got to the karaoke bar.
Okay.
Because at that point, after going that night in Fort Worth, I was like, oh, I could sit down and write something. And there was a moment, because this is like right after the 2020 election, where I was having brunch with a friend, and we were talking about the election, and I had said something to him that made him laugh, and he was like, you mentioned once you might try stand-up. You should say that on stage. That was one of my first jokes of like something we had in conversation that I brought to the stage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so how did you feel that first time doing that open mic?
Okay at first, because I got enough, like, it was crazy because there was like room full of comics, but there was like 10 to 12 actual audience members, which you would
at an open mic.
Oh my gosh! Like at first I just thought like, oh yeah, that's probably how it is. That's not many people. Now I'm just like, oh my gosh, I lucked out on my first time. I had actual feedback, so got enough. Like what I remember is only having like 3 written out jokes or bits, and thinking that'd be plenty for a 3-minute, and then not even seeing the light starting. I remember the panic set in when I ran out of things to say, not knowing what to do, so I just bailed. Like, all right, that's my time. Right when I saw the 1-minute light. But I remember feeling like okay enough to where it was like, okay, I think I can try this again and like get better at this. And I just got super lucky, almost like it was like right time, right place, because I'd lived up north near the Domain at the time, and then that's when the Roma Room had just opened up, and they were doing mics every day, I became a regular there, and I remember like they had the 4-minute spots and the 6-minute spots, like, and I remember that being like a first like stepping stone for me would be like oh, I'm gonna sign up for the 6-minute spot now. I've got all this material. Thinking I was doing like a full set. But it's huge when you're starting out.
Oh yeah, you're setting those little benchmarks for yourself.
Yeah, I missed the Roma Room. That was like they were pivotal for my first year of comedy. That's where I got my first 10-minute spot. That's where I got my first paid spot, my first hosting. So it was like a lot of little like check marks that like help propel me to like do other things and be confident in getting making more opportunities for myself. I owe a lot to that little room that is now what is it? It's the Dirty Birdie Putt, I think it's called. Which is funny because the first show I ever did that I got booked on was a 10-minute spot on a show called the Dirty Birdie at 12:30.
Oh wow!
Yeah, things kind of a weird like
full circle moment. Yeah. Oh my gosh, I haven't heard the Romo Room in a long time, and I interviewed Rob, kind of at the heyday of the Romo Room, and I was sad that it kind of met its end, because I thought it was doing a really good service for new comics getting into things, because at the time there wasn't there certainly wasn't the Mothership. The Creek in the Cave had just started, so they were just kind of figuring out what they were going to be here in Austin. So I felt like Rob was doing like a real service to the young comics out there.
Yeah, it was a great time. I mean, especially for like the just the green room itself. They did for like how cool of a little green room that was for how small of a club that was. It was they really put their heart and soul in that place, and I'll forever be grateful for the first year and a half, 2 years of my comedy career, helping not launch me, but prepare me for other opportunities.
Yeah. Okay, so it sounds like you were just instantly hooked.
Yes.
On the whole thing.
Yeah, about a week or two after my first set or mic, I'd started hearing like, oh, Vulcan Gas Company's in comedy now.
That's right.
And I went and saw Fahim Anwar.
Oh
And then,
my God.
yes, murderous. And then that's when I started just asking like, oh, do they need extra help? And so I'm working a full-time job and then start going to Vulcan almost every day just to help with the production of the shows, whether it was seating people or just making sure like, running the light for the comics. So like started doing that on like the secret shows and stuff on Red Band Show. And that's how I kind of got, just introduced to like Derek Poston, Hassan, Dylan Sullivan, and all those people that were coming through. And that's when I really was like, because to me what was appealing about the idea of being a comedian was when I'd listen to like, Bill Burr's podcast or Rogan or Theo or all that, is that these people just seem so free. Like they're not like, where I felt very held down by like my job and stuff. Like these guys just seem so free.
Yeah.
And once I saw that in person, of like, oh, these guys are just relaxed and they've created over like a decade and a half of hard work. They've created their own life and their control of their own life.
Yeah.
That's what made going back to doing a very simple writing Yelp or responding to Yelp reviews and making social media posts. Very easy job. It made that job so hard because I'd like, oh, there's something way better out there. And I'm not feeling like I was more comfortable and meant to be hanging out at comedy clubs rather than sitting at my desk in my apartment all day, just writing away, being like, well, we're glad you enjoyed the egg soup salad. Come back and see us for 10% off on our dessert or whatever I was typing at the time.
That sounds so soul sucking.
Sucking. Oh gosh. I mean, you just memorize like they're like there's the people that were writing like negative reviews were so uncreative because it's just like 1 star. I would leave 0 stars if I could. Our waitress was a bitch or whatever they talk about. But yeah, it's I'll never forget. So this is like I do work at Vulcan and do a full-time job, corporate job, Monday through Friday. So I'm working 60 plus hours a week, plus extra, weekend shows. And so I'm burning the candle at both ends.
Yeah.
And I had a
And you're still trying to perform during this? Or
still trying to get, still doing mics after like the late 11:30, like, there was a WTF Ice House, Lucky Duck, like the ones that used to go till like 2 a.m.
Yeah.
And yeah, burning the candle at all ends, as they say. And I had this 2-week vacation coming up in August, and I was like, okay, this would be the perfect reset, because I was like, I think I have to stop working at the comedy club, which I didn't want to do. And but I was like, you know what, I'll go on vacation, I'll hit reset, and I'll feel great, I'll come back. And sure enough, instantly, first day of work, I'm like, oh God. And I remember calling my mom, because my mom of all people that kind of like kicked me out of working at GoDaddy, is because I was like, Mom, I think I have to quit the comedy club. I can't work 2 jobs at it. Like, this is killing me. Thinking like she's going to be like, yeah, that's the right thing to do as a parent. But she was like, no, like, quit the soul-sucking job.
Oh, yay, Mom.
Yeah, no, she like, yeah, I call my mom the Oracle, because all my friends go to her for advice and stuff. Like,
it's amazing.
Yeah, I used to call her like the White Oprah. Like, just when you need advice, you go to Katrina. And she was like, she said the coolest thing a parent could say to a child, I think. She was like, look, Connor, you've done everything we've asked. You went to college, got good grades, you got the job. She's like, you've really want to do this. And I think they'd seen me do 1 set by this point, like come to an actual show. She's like, you've taken this really seriously, and anything I've ever seen you take seriously, you've never failed at. So she was like, I'll always make sure you have shelter over your head and food on your table. Like, I just ask you try to take care of everything else, but like you should be doing this if you're really feel called to do it. And quit my job the next day, put my 2 weeks in the next day.
Oh, Mom.
Yeah. Yeah, she's been number 1 supporter ever since. Like always calling me after after a Dress to Kill now. Like, how'd the show go? How many people showed up?
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Oh, I love your mom.
Yeah, everyone does. Yes, she is. My parents get invited to my friends' weddings now because they like.
I love it.
Yes, yeah. So like my parents would like when I was in college. So my parents didn't go to college, but my dad's like a owned his own business for 40+ years now, total self-made entrepreneur, and they would come visit me in a college town, and like all my friends at the bar, and they would just pick up everyone's tab. And this is San Marcos, so this is like they could feed 8 to 10 kids booze, and they're still only spending 150, $200. To them, that wasn't crazy amount, but to us, we're like, oh my god,
Yeah.
and they're so pure. They were like, well, don't parents come every weekend? Don't you guys get free drinks every week? We're like, no, you guys are. I was like, Mom, you guys are the only parents that like feel obligated to pay for your tabs. They're like, you're telling me people that like have like succeeded in life come hang out with you broke college kids and don't help you out. They just like. For us, so it's just doing y'all a favor. Like, you guys are starving out here.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
so they're just pure-hearted, like, individuals. So I don't know how I became a dirty stand-up comic, but...
Okay, on that note, we're going to take a little pause break here. I didn't warn you up ahead of time, but it's not a big deal. So we're going to play this card game, Where Should We Begin? It's by Esther Perel. It's like a world-famous psychologist.
Okay.
And I've got 2 cards here, randomly picked, and you're going to point to one of these 2 cards, and I'll read the other one to you after you read the one you didn't pick to me. So point to one of these 2.
I'm going to just take this left one.
Okay, so I'll read that one to you, and then you read that one to me, and
Okay.
then we'll pick back up. Go ahead and read
Oh, so
that
I
one
read
to
you
me.
first?
Yeah, no one wants to hear me, so we get this part done. fast.
Okay. Oh, this is perfect for a comic. I'll never apologize for the time blank.
Oh wait, no, that's I answered
Oh,
that.
you
one,
answered
but
that
you go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
So it's funny. We were just talking about this yesterday. I was at a baby shower yesterday. I'm at the point in my life where all my friends from college are starting families. I couldn't be farther from that. But you play these little games at baby showers, and one of them is you can't say the word baby. You have to say anything else.
Okay.
Are we allowed to be a little
Yes.
explicit? Okay,
Yes.
cool. All right. So this is about a year ago. It's my friend Alex. She's one of our first friends to get pregnant, and so we're at her baby shower playing this game. Alex is the most. She's as far as my non-comic friends though. She's the one we can verbally spar, and like it feels like I'm hanging out with a comic because she's just so quick-witted.
Yeah.
And we developed that friendship instantly when she started dating my friend Daniel, and so I go up to her and I can't say baby, and I'm a little drunk, so I don't see who else is around her, and I'm like, okay, knowing our explicit humor together, I just go like, how's the cum deposit doing? And thinking she's gonna laugh, she blushes up, and she's like, sir, my mother's right behind me. Mother's cackling. She's like, and then like her friends who don't know me instantly kind of start jumping on me, like, hey man, what's your problem? Why would you say that? And Alex steps in before I can say, because I was about to double down and be like, whoa, we were supposed to pretend it didn't how it got there, like, and Alex doubled down. She's like, no, this is my friend Connor. He's a comic. Instantly, they were diffused and started asking me, like, oh, you're a comedian? And, you ever done Kill Tony? Like, you go to the mothership? You know Casey Rocket?
Oh, God.
Like, and it's like, and I'm thrown back being like, wait, you were just disgusted with me.
Yeah.
But I was like,
Now you're a celebrity.
now I was like, what? Like, I was like, no, go. I felt me way more uncomfortable. It reminded me of like, okay, if you just get as long as you have the context of where a human being's coming from with their intentions, like now they're like, oh, I'm not just some piece of trash.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
I do comedy and we have this relationship where we verbally spar for each other. Now they're into it. So that's like, yeah, that's why it's like, I'll never apologize for being me. I think is my answer, because with my friends at least, because that's just, I'm just being who I am. I don't know how to be me.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Nice. All right. Well, this is the question you would have had. Let's see if I want to take it. A dream I've never shared. Gosh.
Does it mean like a dream, like something you like dreamed about, or like you always wanted to be a ballet dancer?
Yeah. I mean, I don't dream like during sleep time stuff. I hardly ever dream. But like a hope for myself that I've never shared. I mean, maybe that I wanted to be like a famous actress,
Mm-hmm.
but I never did anything to do it.
Right.
Because
Just
I had,
that fantasy of
yeah.
like that. Do you think it's the wanting to actually be in a movie or in a production of film, or is it the lifestyle of an actress?
I think it's the lifestyle.
Lifestyle,
Very
yeah.
much the lifestyle.
Yeah, the
yeah.
fancy restaurants. And,
Yeah, exactly. Go to the fancy boutiques and walk around with an expensive
Yeah.
handbag and yeah. When I was younger, I was working in San Antonio, but my company would ship me off to other cities to do work when other offices in the company needed help. And one of the offices I got to go help at was in LA. So here I am in my 20s and I'm in LA and I'm like starstruck by everything and I'm just like, oh my God, I could live here. It's so beautiful. It's sunny all the time. And, I don't think I ran into any celebrities, but just that whole like LA lifestyle. Now I'm like, yeah, there's there's a lot of not so great things about the LA lifestyle, plus the traffic. Ugh.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's growing up in Texas, just how friendly people are. Because my mom has
Yeah.
her side of the family's all from like Orange County and Seal Beach and Newport. So I grew up doing weekly summer vacations in that part of California. And when I was younger, I was like, man, the weather's so nice and way better than the humid, sweaty heat of Houston. But then as I got more mature and older, I was like, oh, I would hate it here. Because I grew up with just like Southern hospitality and like genuine people. Not to go straight back to comedy, but I remember that being like an issue for some of the like more like LA comics trying to check out Austin, because they would be like, you meet them for 3 minutes and they're like, oh, bestie, da da da, and all that kind of like slang talk where everyone else is very just relaxed, like, hey, just hang out, have a beer, like we don't have to talk about getting on each other's shows right now. We can just did you see Will Smith slap Chris Rock? Like, that was crazy. Like, just have a normal conversation. That was an interesting observation I had in those. Like, there's everyone, I think, from the New York and LA scenes has come to Austin in the last 4 years, and the ones that have had the hardest time adjusting is like coming from that, like, I think that LA or New York hustle where you can't relax. Or here it's like you can be really hustling and getting on stage a lot, but as far as that, when you're just hanging out, it's way more, you get along with people when you're just be yourself and be way more relaxed here. Yeah. And not try to just, that fake friend personality. Right. It just, I think you can get away with it in LA because everyone's doing it, but here you see it from a mile away, and it just doesn't, some people just don't know how to relax or be genuine, and they move back to LA in like 4 or 5 months. I've seen that happen a couple times.
Okay, so you were working at Vulcan, which now, I can kind of see the writing on the wall. So was, as it happens, Scott Wharton, who was a recent guest. And the way he tells it, you kind of had this idea for a show. Being from outer Houston area, kind of relaxed vibe, how do you come up with the concept of dressing up for comedy?
Yeah, so...
And actually I feel like that's jumping ahead, but had you come up with other show ideas, and when did you decide, I want to put on a show?
Great question. So again, I was starting to become a workaholic at Vulcan, kind of becoming like the can-do guy, and just and it was great. I think I worked there for almost 2 years, and it just had hit that point to where I was like, all right, I think I've learned as much as I'm going to learn here, and I'm not getting the opportunities I want. And I was realizing I was starting to be seen as not necessarily as a comic, but just Connor who works at Vulcan and you see him on stage sometimes. And I was wanting to change that trajectory. And I'd realized, I was like, well, the best thing to do if you're not getting the opportunities you want is to create those opportunities for yourself. And so I remember like standing on the front door of 6th Street till like 2:30 in the morning, just checking IDs, because Vulcan would be like, it wasn't like a regular comedy club, it would turn into a nightclub or a bar. Sometimes we would do EDM shows from 11:30 to 2 after the comedy would end. And I don't know, did realize there was 1 million plus showcase shows, and I was like, well, all right, like, how can we add a gimmick to this, but still the focus be on the product of stand-up comedy? But at least I'm like, if people are looking at if it's a Friday, Saturday night, and there's 15 different showcases to check out in Austin. What makes ours different to where the average person go like, oh, maybe let's dress up and like have a nice evening. And I was very inspired from like vintage, like old school Las Vegas performers, so like the Rat Pack, Elvis, and they were always dressed up, or like so many famous comedians that I admire wear suits a lot, like Ron White, Steve Byrne, guys that just kind of like give that, I don't know, it adds a certain class to a very classless art form. And I don't know, I was like, well, everyone else is trying to sell you a comedy show. What if I sold them an experience and then tricked them with a comedy show? And I think that's what we still do 2 years later. Just I don't know if people necessarily come to the show always want to hear comedy, but they just want to go out and feel nice. Kind of that era when we used to like wear suits everywhere, like on airplanes and whatnot. And now it's just weddings and funerals, and I think people spend a lot of good money on clothes they don't get to wear a lot. So just there's a market for giving someone the excuse to just dress up and feel good about themselves. And it's 2 years later. So far it seems to be working.
Yeah. So did you have a suit already when you came up with the idea, or how I'm curious. I didn't get to ask Scott these questions.
Yes.
So
well, it's a great question.
So what's your fashion experience been since starting the show?
Yes, I well, now I get gifted a lot of cool things from friends that like oh, you dress up, like, here, does this fit you? Like my friend gave me this navy blue velvet Calvin Klein blazer, and so I'll wear that on stage a lot, and I'll do it I think I've like cycled through like 4 different outfits now, but I call it like my suit and boots outfit. Because I work at we can get this later, but I work at a cowboy boot shop on South Congress.
I noticed your boots when you walked in. I'm like, damn, those are nice boots.
Thank you. Yes, that is one of the perks of working there. Is these are actually a gift for being my 2-year anniversary there. So getting free handmade cowboy boots is a huge perk. But I would do like my suit and boots outfit where I'll do like the blue. I can't close. It's slim fit, so where I can't. If I try to button it, I look ridiculous, but if I keep it open, it's a good casual look, and I'll put on a bolo tie and do the boots. So something like more of like a Southern charm thing. But then at the time, I remember I had a plain black suit, and I think I had like a navy blue kind of plaid blazer with like blue. Yeah, I had the blue one, I had the black one when we first started. Scott didn't have anything, and so I took him to Goodwill, and I've told comics this because sometimes comics will be like, I'd love to do your show, I just don't have anything nice. And I was like, I promise you would be surprised what you can go find at like a Goodwill or any thrift shop. Like, you can put something together. But now, I think we did about a year and a half of doing the show. Roscoe's opened up, and that has become our home club in Austin. And what a huge honor we've gotten to do New Year's Eve with them last 2 years. And so I got us matching tuxedos, or I have a white one and he has a red one. Oh my gosh. And so that's when we do bigger shows, we'll bust out the tuxedos. And then I just got a new black suit for Christmas from my mom, of all people. She's like, the one you wear doesn't fit you right. I want you to go and tailored. And I was like, that's expensive. She's like, it's your Christmas gift. I was like, deal. All right. So it's mostly like an all black Johnny Cash look, because I'm a big Johnny Cash fan.
So do you find yourself dressing up more at other shows, or are you able to keep like the divide?
It's fun, I would say, because I think this is a good time, because we're talking about how I'm a huge metalhead and deadhead, and then I have this show where you dress nice. So I'm a real like Jericho, Mr. Hyde kind of personality, but everything's genuine. I used to say like I was a social chameleon. I can look good at a cocktail bar, and I can look good at a mosh pit. And I'm happy at both places equally. So sometimes I almost try to just it's more casual, but sometimes I'll have a dress to kill, and then I'll have a later spot, and I'll be in a suit. And I'll have to just address that to the audience. There's fun ways to do that. But I don't know. I kind of just go for what the mood is. Like, if it's, like today it was jeans and a backwards baseball hat. Like, I would wear this outfit on stage too.
So the show has, you said 2 year anniversary of the show?
Yes, so the first one was January 2023. So yeah, we just did
Okay.
2 years of doing it.
All right. And you guys are definitely like getting traction. You're taking this on the road.
Yes, we've done a few road shows. So now we're we still do it monthly at Roscoe's. We get a monthly Saturday there. Sometimes we'll get a Wednesday or Thursday at Cap City as well, which is always a blast doing
Yeah.
it. The Domain has been a great audience for
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
And then we have a monthly in Houston at they have a new Punchline Comedy Club right in
Okay.
downtown. We've been doing it there, and we're having a lot of fun doing that there. And then last year we did Denver, we did Phoenix, LA, and Chicago, just kind of randomly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
How cool is that?
yeah, getting to do some clubs you just have heard of, like Zanies in Chicago, is a legendary club. That was like a dream come true. Like the amount of times I've been doing stand up in 4 years, the amount of times I've said I can't believe this is my life right now in this moment. Like, oh, this is cool, or this
Yeah.
is like a lot of high stakes moments. But yeah, it's just been a wild ride so far. Just an amazing opportunities that we get. I'm just, and that was it. Just it was never the intention. Like Scott, when we first started, Scott had like these grand ideas of the show. He saw the vision before I did. I was just like, I just wanted to get on stage more right now in Austin, like, and just work the craft and get better and be able to. I think at the time I was trying to get to that 15-minute mark, and I was like, yeah, now we've. What I love about it is we can do the show differently. So if we want to book 8 people, like we have a lot of comics going on, we can all do shorter sets, or it's like, or we could do us 2 and 3, or just book 3 or 4 comics and all do longer sets and just kind of see how it goes, or just do a traditional host feature and do like a 30-45 minute headliner show. So we've done all versions of the show. We like right now we like do a 90-minute show, 6 comics, 15 minutes each. Seems to be where the audience still wants a little bit more, and that's what brings them back next time.
Yeah. So you got the call or the text or the email, whatever, however Moontower notifies
Oh,
you.
yes. Yeah.
Did you, being in Austin and being kind of immersed in the scene, you knew about Moontower.
Of course.
Did you have like visions of, I want to do Moontower one day?
Yes, I obviously I think anyone that does stand up in Austin would love to get on Moontower. I was no different. I just had no idea it would be like this quickly.
Yeah.
It happened kind of organically, because the way I saw it, I was like, well, okay, it seems like people they're getting on Moontower coming through Cap City system. And I was like, the best way to get into that system is to just not win FPIA, but just perform well. And I was like, okay, well, here, if you make it to the semifinals, that's when you get some FaceTime with people that booked the club, and they're the ones judging the competition.
Yeah.
And I was, and that's just kind of how it happened. I made it to the semifinals. Didn't make it to the finals, but still had a really strong set. And I remember I think I told one of the managers, I was like, God, I love this room so much. Like, we got to do Dress to Kill here one day. And 2 weeks later, I got the call saying like, hey, we just had this Wednesday open up. Can you guys fill in on short notice?
Whoa.
Cool. We're like, oh my gosh, yes.
Wow.
Yeah. And did that. And then I just met a new photographer named Mike Jones, and thought he just new into the comedy scene, but he was taking these incredible photos. And when we did the show, had a great turnout. I think we did like 80 plus people on like a Wednesday, and half of them dressing up, which is about what we start at, because people always ask me like about the participation of the audience. And what I've noticed is it starts around like 50% when we go to a new club, and then if whoever doesn't dress up, I always tell the host, like, bust their balls a little bit, but like, don't make them feel like don't make them have a bad time, because those are the people that have fun, and they'll come up to you after, like, I had so much fun, I'm sorry I didn't dress up. like, what's your Instagram? I'm going to follow you. I'm going to come back. And then they'll dress up and they'll bring friends. And that's helped the show grow.
Sure.
So that 50% that doesn't dress up to me is just as important as the people that participate. So Mike took these incredible photos, and when we posted them, we collabed Cap City on Instagram. And a few days later, I got an email. It just said, subject just said Moontower Comedy Festival, and this email just said call me, and it was the booker's number, and she just asked me about the show and said, this sounds great. I'd love to have it on the toe.
Wow, amazing.
Yeah, I remember that call fondly. Like, this is an ad, some smile you're saying. Like, it's like that was a very good day of it's just something that's just so surreal. Scott and I both very honored to be a part of it. Very, very cool opportunity we have ahead of us, and it is lit a fire under our butts because we not that it's gonna one festival is gonna make or break you, but we see it as we got this great opportunity. We're working really hard to prove ourselves, and want to. Not very many. There's not too many local shows as far as that are organically built in Austin that make it all the way to Moontower. So we just feel like we got to fly the flag for everyone else that's producing some kick-ass shows out there that haven't gotten their turn yet. Yeah. So.
And then you get the opportunity to hopefully book a big name who's willing to come dress up and perform, and
yes, there's
we've a lot of mileage from that too.
Yes, there's we've talked about a few. I can't say anyone yet, but we're hopefully we got a surprise student store for everyone, and I'm really excited. I'm just gonna clear my schedule and go out every night and hit as many shows as I can too. But yeah, I just can't wait to see the city come to life of comedy, especially with this being the week of South by Southwest and all these weird tech people. I'm like, I can't wait till this Moontower next month.
I know, right, yeah.
Got all these education dorks out of here.
As many years as I've been following Moontower, I still think of it as it's kind of like a work conference because you're going to watch other people perform and you're learning from them. And you're mingling, so you're networking, and so it's kind of a job, but way more fun.
Yes, exactly.
Way more fun.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to this. Some of the after parties at Antone's I hear get pretty fun.
Oh yeah, for sure. And just to, you've already taken the show on the road, you're going to make more connections and say, hey, is there, what's your home club that, we'd love to bring this show out there. So, I mean, the world is your oyster right now with this show. Yeah,
I would say in a perfect world, I could one day maintain maintain my equity in Dress to Kill, but not have to be at every show and still venture I tell this to clubs I work at. I try to host as much as possible because that's to me a skill you should have as a rising comic. I want to get road work, and so in my dream world, Dress to Kill will get to a point where it can sustain itself on its own, kind of like how maybe I Don't Tell maybe kind of has all their satellite shows. I don't know if we'd ever stretch ourselves that far, but like you said, having home clubs in different areas where we can't be in every place at once, but we can kind of get sort of some local comedian reps to produce it for us, and gosh, that would be the dream for it. Now they're the next step in a few years, I would say. Yeah. But who knows?
Very exciting.
We could, we'll see.
I mean, in 4 years' time, look where you've taken yourself. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's there's so many. I'll tell you the craziest thing that happened to me in the first 3 months is when I was working at Vulcan, doing when the weekend headliner come in, it was kind of my job to kind of just be the point of contact, and had this young man come in. He sold about 60 tickets on a Friday, about the same number sold for Saturday, and he'd found out I did comedy, and he was like, hey, do you want to do 5 minutes tomorrow? You just starting out? I was like, yeah, I can do five was all I had. I was like, yeah, I can do 5. So I get my first 5-minute guest spot, do it in front of 60 people. The headliner, his name is Matt Rife.
No!
Yeah.
Wow.
So about a year later, my friends asked me, like,
Wow.
Connor, you ever heard of Matt Rife? Because at the time, I just thought he would just had not blown up yet. Like, I think he had less than maybe 100,000 followers.
Yeah.
And but I remember watching with him, like I just remember thinking, like, oh, this guy sticks through it. Like, he was extremely talented.
Mm-hmm.
The crowd work was already there.
Yeah.
And same with Adam Ray is another one. Super, super nice. Have headline. I watched him headline the Roma Room for maybe 20, 30 people.
Yeah.
And now
Yeah.
look where he is. The doctor headlining Moontower as with this Dr. Phil thing. So that's someone I hope I get to run into. Who could not have been nicer to a young first-year comic than everyone that worked at Vulcan in that era has nothing great things to say about Adam Ray, because he is truly just a genuine, nicest guy. Like, there's some guys that put on the nice guy front.
Yeah.
Him, it's just that's all he knows how to be. It's a genuine dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
My shout out to Adam Ray is that Dr. Phil character was born on Jeremiah Watkins's Jeremiah Wonders podcast.
Oh, wow.
And I remember hearing that for the first time, and it was just golden. And the fact that he has taken it this far is amazing, because Adam has been a Moontower regular.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, you could just watch him do sets around the festival, and he's hilarious. Super hilarious. And on the goddamn Comedy Jam, which that's the show you have to get to that show.
Okay.
As a music head, you absolutely have to go
All
see
right.
that show. And Adam Ray's performance of Four Non Blondes, forgot the name of the song, but you know the song.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody knows the song. It was just like spine tingling, goosebumps everywhere. It's just he's incredible and nice is, you know, kind of the cherry on top is funny, nice, and, you know, kind of seeing that character born on Jeremiah's podcast is.
Yeah, when I don't know if there's a comic that is like as multifaceted as his, because I think like
and movies. I mean.
Oh, his acting. Yeah, so
Oh,
he
yeah.
he has his acting. He has his pure stand up, as far as he can write a great joke or write great bits. He can crowd work. No, he was the first guy where I was like, oh, you don't have to be mean to someone to be good at crowd work. You can just you can just get to know them first and bust their balls to where they're like, feel like they're talking to a friend. He's an expert at that, and then he can do like this crazy character works that all he does. That'll be one show. I'm gonna make sure I can sneak my way into the very top of Paramount Theater for wherever they can fit me.
Yeah.
Just watching it like Sting in the 90s on WCW. I don't know if you follow professional wrestling, but the 10 dudes out there will get that.
Well, Connor, is there anything that we haven't talked about that you want people to know about?
Oh gosh, can't really. I think we covered the basis of it, of what we're doing out here. I would just say, if I can just self-plug, Dress to Kill Comedy.
Oh, yeah. No, actually, let's talk about the boot thing.
Oh, sure,
Yeah.
yes, there we go, yes. So that Heritage Boot on South Congress has become my day job. After I left Vulcan, I was like, well, I still need a source of income. And I just made a list of places that I thought I would first enjoy working at. And I had went there as a customer and just had an awesome experience there. And I took my friend to go check out the boot shop. And he was like, I'll never spend more than $250 on a pair of boots. And I was like, you try these on. And he was like, oh my God. So they watched me sell him the boots. He didn't buy them that day, but he got the owner's card. He's like, I'm about to close a big sale in a few weeks. I'll come back. And he ended up buying like 2 pairs. And he told the ladies, he's like, there's 2 women that own the shop. He's like, I wouldn't have ever bought these boots if it wasn't for Connor endorsing them like he did. And it's like, he's looking for a job if you guys, and it was a perfect time because they wanted to hire a male just to like have a male sales figure.
Sure.
So as a comedian, it's been the best job because I'm one of 6 employees. They always like happily to help me facilitate comedy schedule and work schedule. And
Nice.
I was going to say something else, but the hours. The shop's open from 11 to 6, so I can stay out the night.
Perfect.
Stay out before work, and then I'm always off.
Yeah.
And locate on South Congress. It never takes me I mean, at most, it takes me 30 plus minutes maybe to get to Cap City. So everything else is closer than that.
Yeah.
So it's just been, they have been a blessing to me.
Yeah. And you crowd work the entire day.
Oh, again, being a comic, you can get away with things. When they introduce people in the store, they'll be like, I'll be doing something else. Like, if you have any questions, ask Connor. He's our local comedian who does. So I've sent people, and I've learned just how many people are tourists that come for comedy. Like,
yes.
comedy has,
Yeah.
like, become synonymous with Austin in a way of, like, three things. People want to come try good barbecue. They want to go see live music. They dedicate a night or two, whether it's going to Mothership or going to Creek and Cave or going up to seeing a headliner all the way to Cap City. I'm always being like, I send a lot of people to like my friend shows and stuff, and I've gotten some people will buy boots and then they'll wear them to Address to Kill, so that's always cool to see too. So, but I do get away with saying some things you probably couldn't say in a regular retail job, or just because people are just, God, I really do enjoy people, but if I work too many days in a row at that boot shop, I will end up hating people because it's like three things I'll say to you: men's on the left, ladies on the right. Please don't touch the boots. We'll get them off the shelf for you. And people will nod their head at you and then go like pick up a boot off the shelf.
Of course.
And it's just like the murderous thoughts you have like go to your head. You have to just filter to being like the most snarky I'll get. I'll be like, excuse me, and they're like, oh yeah, what's up? While they're holding the boot, I was like, can you repeat the last thing I just said to you? And then they'll freeze and they're like, oh shoot, or they'll be like, I'll be honest, I wasn't listening. I was like, yeah. And it's not like it's like, well, like they will ignore the sign that says like, please don't touch the boots, we will assist you, and then they'll ignore that sign, like, or it's like the boot is right above that sign, they'll just grab it off, and they're like, oh, you guys should have a sign. I was like, well, we got one there, like, and luckily, like, yeah, our the funnest thing about going from corporate to working for a local business is like working directly with the owners of the store. So they care about, like, I know they care about my well-being, and they and there's not that corporate red tape to where like our joke is like HR is just a bottle of Jack in the office at the so it's like, yeah, if you got a problem with someone, it's HR, like sit down and figure it out like adults. So yeah, I don't knock on wood, I don't see myself ever. I'll do any other job before ever going back to a lifeless corporate gig again.
Well, hopefully you never do.
Exactly. No.
All right. Well, you'll get a chance to plug everything in a moment, but let's wrap up with my closing question.
Okay.
One word to describe your future.
Ooh. That's a good one. Endless, and like endless possibilities. So trying to.
God, it's so loud.
I was like, what are you writing down? Did I answer the question wrong?
No.
Oh, God, is this my friend's trick me? Is this just therapy on the air? Oh, no.
No, not at all. Okay, well, that is a wrap on Comedy Wham Presents Connor Nutt. Connor, tell us where people can find you, promote your projects, the boot company.
Yeah, so, if you Heritage Boot, they actually just launched a new website, so Heritage Boot, that's just boot, not plural, .com. You can find my personal stuff, Connor Nutt. If you Google my name, I show up, but at Good Guy Connor on Instagram, Good Guy Connor on Twitter. I don't have a TikTok yet, and then Dress to Kill Comedy on Facebook and Instagram as well.
Okay, fantastic. Well, we hope you've enjoyed learning about how Connor got to be the comedic genius that you heard today just as much as I have. This has been Comedy Wham Presents Connor Nutt. I'm Valerie, and that's been funny. Thank you, Connor.
Thank you for having me.